if I can ask the other board members, did you have an opportunity to view all the attachments that are tied to the agenda that Aaron sent out a couple weeks ago?
Yes. Yeah.
Alan,
Believe so.
you get them, Alan?
It was just the one for washout in 20
What are you
center.
talking about? You talking about the stuff for this week?
Yes, sir. There's the one for the washout and one for.
Talking about-
Yeah, I think I got everything.
Okay. Then, you want to call us to order, roll call? Heather?
Yep. Mr. Kinter? Stay here.
Yes.
Ms. Burkett?
Here.
Ms. Burkett?
Here.
Mr. Buck?
Here.
Mr. Vandiver?
She's here.
And Mr. Fink?
Here.
Here.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. The first item is that we have, in accordance with our Design Review Board regulations, we have in fact published the Freedom of Information Act. And the third item of interest is approval of previous minutes from June 15th and July 7th. Let's take those one at a time. Can I have a motion to discuss the June 15th minutes?
Motion to
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
Can we have a second, thank you. Was there any discussion on the minutes? I thought they were pretty straightforward and accurately reflected what transpired. Is there any comments or any discussion anybody wants to make on the June 15th minutes? Okay, having heard none, let me just skip straight to the second set of minutes, and then we'll have a vote on them, Heather, if that's all right. Can I have a motion to discuss or to approve the July 7th minutes?
so moved.
Okay, second, please. Okay, any discussion? The only item on the July 7th minutes, the one item that I noted was, of course, that it, of all the Circle K signage and everything, that pretty much obviated anything from the June meeting. And we all had approved all those recommended changes that the Circle K representatives wanted to make. Is there any other discussion that anybody wants to have or to add anything to the July 7th minutes? Okay, Heather, if you want, you can just call the motion for approval.
Mr. Buck?
Yes.
Mr. Vandiver? Mr. Vandiver?
Yes.
Ms. Burkett?
Yes.
Ms. Burkett?
There's a big.
Oh, is there?
Yes.
Oh, great, okay.
Sorry for the lag, guys.
Mr. Kinter?
Yes.
Mr. Fink?
Yes. Okay, thank you. The fourth item, Aaron, is personal appearances.
We have none.
No personal appearances noted. Is there any unfinished business, Mr. Pope, you're aware of?
No, sir.
No unfinished business. Under item 6, new business, accelerated review with a new fence and gate in the parking lot of 43 Center Street. Can I have a motion for discussion?
Move for
please?
accelerated.
Okay,
Second.
okay, we can now have discussion. Any discussion on the gates in the parking lot of the washout? Is that Greg Marshall?
Yes, sir.
Well, Mr. Marshall, if you would introduce yourself for the record.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, we can see you, or at least two of us can see you.
Sure. Hi. Okay. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Greg Marshall here. I'm one of the owners at the washout, also a Folly resident here. And I'm not sure if you had a chance to review the package I sent out. I think it's pretty straightforward. We're trying to put a fence around the dumpster, which is very unattractive. We also want to create some segregation between, and also some entrance gates. really the main reason, especially now where we've got more outdoor dining and it's been hard to control, people coming in and out of the property, and even just visualizing who's controlling the mask ordinance, et cetera. We wanted to do those things there. Again, it just gives us a little bit more control over the property. And then the other item was just to upgrade some of the landscaping. We're going to use all plants that are typical to the area. I'm going to put in a drip system. I forgot to mention that there, but I think at one point they did have a drip system there. And so hopefully, that shrubbery outside will be a lot greener and not, quite frankly, as ratty looking as it is right now.
Sorry.
And and I have to say too, we got approval from the FAB. They're going to put some nice planters out in front of the washout, like they've done in front of Taco Boy and Rita's and some of the other restaurants. Just trying to make the appearance look a little bit better from the street.
Stain that fencing like it's in the pictures? It just
That's a good question. I was going of the wood. I want something that looks, attractive, maybe a little bit natural. Those pictures that I took in that PowerPoint presentation were from the state park down at the end of the island. That is that fence, and I really liked the way that you folks did that. And I really just wanted to try to mimic that and also have an opening at the bottom. So if it got real windy, at least there'd still be circulation out there.
my opinion is I think the fence looks great that you're referencing, and I'm looking at those pictures thinking it's stained and hoping you're thinking of staining it the same.
Yeah, we'll probably stain it. I'll take a look at how the wood comes in. If it's that really light color, then we'll probably stain it, make it look. Do you know if they stain that fence down at the state park?
I don't know.
Okay.
It'd probably be, you might want to match your building. Don't you have some light green trim, or I can't remember exactly. You have some color accents on your restaurant, don't you?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Nothing that stands out in my mind. I can pull up some pictures.
Mostly white. Maybe it was the sign I was thinking of.
I kind of like the idea of kind of a more greenish stain, but I think it looks good, and I understand the reason for it.
Yeah, I mean, we can look at different things. I'm happy to, before we do anything, run it by somebody there. Again, we want it to be aesthetically pleasing, and I think it'll hide some of the cars from the street. And, right now we're using that space. People are congregating out there because nobody wants to go inside the restaurant. We haven't opened the inside portion of the restaurant. We only have the outdoor patio and then that outdoor seating adjacent to the building and some, scattered seating, in that parking area. But again, we think this will make everything look a bit more attractive.
I just have one question. So the
Sure.
fence that you show going down the middle of the property, basically, outside,
Right.
that'll be sort of semi-permanent? Or no? Not the one along.
Yes, I mean, the posts will be permanent. One of the things that we talked about was to build it in such a way that if you wanted to take off a panel easily, like to create some traffic, we would do that. I don't know if that really matters to you, but the posts would be permanent. And it'd just be down the middle of the parking lot. So it's not, streets. It's going from Huron, West Huron, towards the restaurant.
No, I think it's a great idea, actually.
Greg, have you
I'm
thought
done.
about, Greg, have you have you thought about using wooden stanchions instead of the metal posts?
You're talking about, you're talking about the braces on the back of the fence?
Correct.
I think he's talking about the dumpster
The gates.
Well,
enclosure.
there's
Yeah.
gates, there's gates.
I
and
mean,
the
I'm
dumpster.
open to suggestions.
Oh, the retractable gates, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, repeat the question. Have we considered,
Yeah, have you considered using?
can you repeat the
wooden-
question? Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I just was wondering if you had considered using wood braces or wooden posts rather than the metal, which might have a tendency to rust and things like that. I'm just asking.
Yeah, I'm open. I mean, if you have any, designs or suggestions, I'm open, to anything there. We were just, because it's such a large gate, we wanted to reinforce it so that it wouldn't be flimsy. And, I did some research online, talked to a contractor friend, and he said that design was fairly common. And somebody actually told me a way to build it so that you don't see the metal. But again, I'm open to anything. I just want something that's sturdy and not going to be flimsy.
I kind of like the metal and the wood together.
You kinda gotta have it on the gate.
Sturdy to have.
The wood would
Yeah.
just get too heavy and floppy, unless we really, threw a ton of money at it. They're gonna
that's
retract
what
on those wheels.
yeah, yeah. That's what I was told. That's probably the best way to reinforce, both the gates for the dumpster and the retractable gate.
Greg, how are you going to secure the gates when they're closed? Is it going to have a hasp-like lock or a chain running around it, or how do you keep that locked up when you want to secure the parking lot?
Quite frankly, we haven't talked about locking it. It's really, I was thinking of some sort of latch that went over that had the possibility to put a lock on there. I don't envision us necessarily locking it because there's still people can get in through the landscape. It's really more of a deterrent than anything.
Okay, I was just wondering if it had a locking feature, if that in any way would inhibit public safety from getting in there or anything else. I was just curious if you had any particular plan in mind. Leaving it
Yeah.
unlocked is fine as far as I'm concerned.
No, quite frankly, I mean, you've seen the washout. I mean, we even leave the patio wide open and we've never had an issue that I'm aware of people going in there. So I really don't envision locking it. I just want to make sure that, cars aren't going in there. Generally, if they see the gate closed, nobody's going to park in there.
Any other questions?
But if that's a stipulation, for example, don't lock it, we have no problem with that.
I don't know of any regulations, do you, Aaron, that would preclude that? We don't believe so, but, are any other comments, members, on the accelerated review?
I think painting or staining the gates or the fences.
I'm done.
makes sense.
Okay, well, Greg, were you able to hear, Ryan's comment that he does feel that either a paint coverage
No,
or
I-
staining would be good?
Right, you gotta be far away from the light.
Okay, yeah, I have no problem. We can stain it. I think staining would look better than painting. And, I kind of like that idea of maybe, a greenish tinted stain.
Yeah.
So, I have, again, no issues with that.
I think it sounds nice.
Yeah.
Any other board comments? I'll assume that there There aren't any. Relative to the, can I have a motion then to pass or for the accelerated review approval? Motion by Mr. Buck. Can I have a second?
I think there's one in place.
That was for discussion too. I'm
I think there's
trying
one
to
in
get it for
place.
vote now.
There is a second.
Okay, you can
Okay.
press on with a roll call then.
Mr. Buck?
Yes.
Mr.
Thank you,
Gator?
everyone.
Thank you.
Mr. Vandiver?
Yes.
Mr. Kinter?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just breaking up a little bit.
Mr. Fink?
Yes.
Everybody? All right, thank you, Mr. Marshall. We've got your permit application that you filled out originally in the office. So I'll get with Heather and we'll work out whatever other permitting issues before approval.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Pope, are there any staff comments?
We got one more
Okay.
item of business.
What are we doing?
Apparently not.
So on Friday afternoon, shortly after I sent out the first agenda, we have a request from Craig Wagner to do some fencing in the parking lot behind Mr. John's. From a zoning standpoint, everything Mr. Wagner is proposing is good for us. We just needed to get him to you guys for design review board approval.
Okay, can I have a motion for discussion of accelerated review for a new fence at 20 Center Street?
Motion.
So moved.
Second.
Yep. Okay, discussion by the board members. If you want to introduce yourself, please, Mr. Wagner?
Hey, Craig, you may be on mute. We can see you talking, but we can't hear you.
Hello?
Now we can hear you.
Hi.
Craig, if you would introduce yourself, please?
We heard you briefly, and then your sound cut out again.
All right.
There you go.
Now we can hear you.
Can you hear me? All right.
Pressing hold.
How about now?
Yeah, you have to hold. You have to hold.
I can hear you fine.
Yeah, hold the space bar while you talk. That should-
Am I all good now?
yeah, you're good.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. Happy to answer any of your questions. My name is Craig Wagner.
So are we just looking at the lattice thing on this one?
Yes, it's just an interior fence. Down the lot, there's a small ditch next to the driveway.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want a little bit of separation between the two, just for aesthetics and for safety.
Probably a real good idea.
Yes.
Other than that, that was my only question.
Okay.
I'm good.
Alan, you're good?
Am I remembering correctly? That's where the moped rental business is, that building?
Yes, it is. Yeah, that was the building we discussed at the June meeting.
Okay, all
It
right,
is
great.
there now. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So you're putting a fence up to kind of create a little separation there.
Yep, exactly. It separates the moped driveway area from the big brown building of Mr. John.
Right, okay, all right.
Brian, do you have any questions?
Are you planning on painting or staining
Looks
the
good.
fence? We just had this discussion before this.
What?
My plan was wood, but if needed, I'm happy to paint it. But my plan was probably just wood with some sort of treatment on it, to weatherproof it a little bit.
I think that the
Um,
issue, Craig, is that you're not planning to paint it any particular color or anything like that. It's either gonna be natural wood or just a stain of some neutral color. Is that correct?
Yes, that is the plan. Yeah.
Joe, do you have any comments?
I don't, nope, I'm fine with that.
Joe, do you have any comments?
What is the deck, just a quick question, the deck material on the Mr. John's building, is that sort of a grayed out, pressure treated lumber look?
Yeah, that's just some pretty old lumber. It's kind of dark brownish. But he has no painting on any of his deck wood or stairs. It's just old looking wood, dark brown.
Okay, I'm fine with it either stained or natural wood. Are there any other comments from the board members? Or questions? Okay, Heather, call a roll, please.
Mr. Kinter,
Should we have a motion for approval? Oops, sorry.
Yes,
Ms. Burkett,
That's a yes or no, I think, Alan.
did you hear me?
Yes, we got you.
Ms. Burkett,
Yes.
Mr. Vandiver,
Yes.
Mr. Buck,
Yes.
Mr. Fink,
Yes.
everybody.
Now we'll move to staff comments, which there are none. Is that correct, Aaron?
Yeah, there is one. Welcome back, Mr. Vandiver. Congratulations on your reappointment. I believe someone else may have been reappointed at the same time.
Well, actually, Mr. Kinter and I were reappointed, and I believe Mr. Vandiver was a tie, and they're gonna take it up at the next meeting.
Okay, congratulations to you guys. Mr. Vandiver, thanks for sticking with us.
I think Joe's brand new.
Um,
His position, Alan, was filling a vacancy, and that.
We'll see how it goes there.
Was due, yeah.
So, well, that negates my staff comment, which was gonna say now that we're staff back up, we're gonna vote on a chairman. The city council meeting will happen before the September meeting of the DRB. So at the September meeting, I would like everyone to be prepared for a chairman, vice chairman vote. Mr. Vandiver, hopefully you'll be joining us back for that vote. The city council will make their decision before we meet again. So at our next meeting, we will have at least one item of business, and that is the chairman and the vice chairman.
I assume there's no citizen comments. Can we have a motion to adjourn? Mr. Buck made a
Did we
motion to
move?
adjourn. Can we have a second?